Chapter 71 Boss, you are out of stock here. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. It is true. Feishua nodded affirmatively. Feishua's level is level 35. Including the attributes improved by the trial to advance to the brave level, the attribute value is about level 45. The wind spirit pill just now increased Feishua's agility attribute by more than half. This is an absolutely incredible thing. Great, take all the body strengthening pill, wind spirit pill and blood bathing pill. Lan Yi waved his hand and made the decision immediately. However, the total of these 3 pills was only 6, and the one Feishua had just eaten was only 7, the output is appallingly low. Is there anything else you want? Qi Lu looked at the small porcelain bottle on the counter and asked slowly. Store manager, you don't seem to have a bow here. Lan Qing'er said in the tone of an archer. There is no dagger either. Yojo repeated again. Brother, where is the shield? Lan Zier ran over holding a piece of refined chain armor. Qi Lu looked calm, but in fact he was almost depressed. These are all white crystals. He also wanted to have these things, but what should he do if he couldn't get them out of the purchasing channels? He was also very desperate. The weapons you want will be available in the future. Qi Lu was silent for a long time before speaking slowly. Lanya and the others had no doubts about the weapons in Qi Li's shop. After all, a weapon that can easily penetrate the body of a professional class monster without being entangled in fighting spirit can definitely be called a magical weapon. Presumably Qi Lu will not ruin his own brand. Fortunately, there is a spear here. Lan Yi took down the storm spear from the shelf. Although Lanya is a knight, she is not a guardian knight with a shield and sword, but a charging knight with a spear. Every time they observe a piece of equipment, Qi Lu will introduce it in a timely manner. Finally, Lan Zier took another anti-magic cloak. After all, reality is different from games. As long as the equipment parts do not overlap, you can wear any number of pieces of armor. Store manager, bring me 2 more combinations of death and rebirth, 3 sets of hot-blooded combinations, and 2 sets of magic combinations. Xiaoya also selected what he needed. Xiao Qi, go get the ice and snow pill. Although you can't use it now, you can save it first. Lan Yi added. Cheng Hui, 2,650 spiritual crystals. Qi Lu stood behind the counter and quoted the price. This excludes the wind spirit pill that Feishua has already paid for with the spirit crystal. Hearing the final price, Lan Ye's hand holding the storm spear couldn't help but tremble. It's not that she thinks the price is high, but who would carry so many spiritual crystals with them for nothing? Qi Lu looked at Lan Yi, tilted his head, and said, if the spiritual crystals are not enough, the store accepts magic core transactions. The brave level magic core can be used to deduct 100 spiritual crystals, and the professional level magic core can be deducted. System, 1,000 spiritual crystals. Qi Lu, 1,000 spiritual crystals. Lan Yi. Others in Lan Ye's team. Fortunately, there is a rich man in Lan Ye's team, otherwise I might not be able to take most of these things away today. Brother, I'll treat you to other meat next time. Lan Zier put the 2 professional level magic cores and Lan Ye's money bag together and said with a smile while lying on the counter. Qi Lu glanced at Lan Zier in surprise. He didn't expect that this little girl could actually produce 2 professional level magic cores. Chapter 72 System, you are plotting against me again. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. After being stunned for a moment, Qi Lu put away the spiritual crystal and magic core, then nodded and said slowly, okay. Goodbye Qi Lu, I'll see you next time. Little Lolita Nalan Qinchi waved her newly acquired frost staff and said goodbye to Qi Lu. The Lan Yi team returned with a full load. Qi Lu watched for a while before taking out the buns from the counter. Is this the meat of the flame demon wolf? It smells quite delicious. Qi Lu took the piece of wolf meat given to him by Lan Zier and looked at it for a long time before making a judgment. I ate the wolf meat with steamed buns. It tastes really delicious. Based on the prices in Chila's store, it basically means that it has not been open for 3 years, and it has been open for 3 years. After these 2 groups of people left, no one came to Chila's shop again. After calculating the turnover and looking at the sky outside, Qi Lu got up and closed the store door. Then we will draw the goods, go to the warehouse to move the goods, and replenish the goods on the shelves. Let's see how to play in the combat power improvement training room. After Chilo moved the goods, he rubbed his waist and walked outside the new store building, this time to look at the magic circle system. Opening the combat power improvement training room requires a new store. System, you are plotting against me again. Chilo suddenly became angry. During the day, he was still thinking about how to use the new store renovation coupon he got from completing the task today. Who knew that the system would give him this trick at night? Got fooled by the system again. This dog system is indeed different from other coquettish bitches. Chilo only felt his head hurt. System, host, the system feels that you seem to have very disrespectful thoughts towards the system in your mind. No, I just have a headache. Chilo covered his head, wanting to cry without tears. Moreover, where did he get the new store? It seems that this combat power improvement training room will not be open for a while. When he thought of this, Chilo felt that it was boring and he might as well go to sleep. Cloud Mist City, Mercenary Union. The Mercenary Union is an extremely large organization on this continent. However, the Mercenary Union is just an idle organization, used to gather mercenaries from various places and provide a place to release tasks, not directly involved in local affairs. Those who really participate in local affairs are the Mercenary Union branches directly established in various places. Based on the information provided by the mercenary team that entered the Cloud Forest, you should have an idea. Mu Qianqiu, one of the leaders of the Mercenary Union, knocked on the table and said slowly. Wan Zhongshan put his legs on the table, crossed his arms across his chest, lowered his head, and said, "It's a beast tide. I really didn't expect it to appear when the two of us are in charge of Yinwu City. Do you want to send the mission?" Mu Qianqiu pointed to the mission hall outside. "The news about the beast tide is coming from our mercenary union. I'm afraid it will make people in Yinwu City panic. It's better to let the city lord's palace announce this news." Wan Zhongshan concluded. "We issued a mission, assembled a mercenary team, and went to the outskirts of Yinwu City to hunt monsters." "Then how is the reward calculated?" Mu Qianqiu asked thoughtfully. "Let the city lord's palace come out, and our mercenary union will earn some hard money." Wan Zhongshan said slowly. "Okay, then I'll go and notify the city lord's mansion. It's time for Qin Ming to bleed some blood." Mu Qianqiu nodded in agreement. Yinwu City, city lord's mansion. The city lord Qin Ming was handling official business when there was a sudden knock on the door. Chapter 73. The Beast Tide is Coming. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. Come in. Qin Ming covered the official document in his hand and straightened up. "City Lord Qin, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you?" Mu Qianqiu walked into the room under the leadership of the guards. "Mu Qianqiu, if you don't stay in the mercenary union, why did you come to me?" Qin Ming put down the pen in his hand and slowly pressed on the official document. No, don't do anything. I'm not here to fight with you today." Mu Qianqiu waved his hands quickly. The city lord's palace and the mercenary union are not in a cooperative relationship. On the contrary, because of the friction between the person in charge and the city lord, there was some hostility between the two. "Then why did you come here today?" Qin Ming slowly stood up and asked calmly. "Of course I'm here to tell you something that you probably don't want to hear." Mu Qianqiu raised the corner of his mouth slightly and pointed outside Yinwu City. "In the Cloud Forest, a tide of beasts is coming. Is what you said true?" Qin Ming pressed his hands on the table. Two clear palm prints were left on the table made of 1,000-year-old iron wood. "I don't even bother to lie to you. This is information that people from our mercenary union paid a lot of life for." Mu Qianqiu snorted coldly. "Then you come to me now to get reward?" Qin Ming suddenly sat back down. As expected of City Lord Qin, he is even more powerful than I imagined. Mu Qianqiu also smiled and couldn't help but clapped his hands twice. Of course Mu Qianqiu heard it. What Qin Ming said about getting rewarded was definitely not literal, but meant something. Qin Ming can sit in the position of City Lord, so his IQ is naturally not low. He must have thought that Mu Qianqiu could not be so kind as to come here just to tell him the news. So, what are your plans? Qin Ming leaned on his seat and lowered his eyes slightly. The Mercenary Union has issued a mission to exterminate the monsters, and your city lord's palace will provide the reward. Mu Qianqiu stated his purpose directly. So, you still have good intentions. Qin Ming looked at Mu Qianqiu with a half-smile. No, we just plan to make some hard-earned money. Mu Qianqiu said clearly. Haven't you made enough money from the Chamber of Commerce? Qin Ming raised his eyebrows. It's not enough, but this time it's just to stimulate their fighting spirit. Hunting monsters has good benefits in itself. Mu Qianqiu spread his hands, then he turned around and walked towards the door, saying, you can give me the reward as you see fit. In fact, this kind of mission of hunting monsters usually involves hunting specific monsters. If there are no such tasks, many mercenary teams will enter the Cloud Forest to hunt monsters for sale. After all, tasks don't come all the time. Many of the tasks of escorting caravans are jointly undertaken by large mercenary groups or several small mercenary groups. Many mercenary teams decide to see if there are any missions that can help them before entering the Cloud Forest, so what Mu Qianqiu said about releasing tasks was really just to give those mercenaries a little motivation. Qin Ming knocked on the table, thinking about this incident. The beast tide is a special disaster in the Cloud Forest. Every 30 years, as the magical beasts grow, a large number of brave-level magical beasts will appear, and under the leadership of the newly grown professional class magical beasts, they will attack Cloud and Mist City. This is a disaster for ordinary people and Yinwu City, but for the mercenaries, it is a good thing. Chapter 74 Uncle Hai leaves. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. Because in the early stages of the beast tide, a large number of brave-level monsters appeared outside the Cloud Forest. To the powerful mercenary team, they were like shining magic cores. When the beast tide breaks out, many mercenary teams will choose to evacuate Cloud Mist City. After the city guards repel the beast tide and rebuild Yinwu City, they can return to Yinwu City. Therefore, if the beast tide comes, with the cooperation of the Mercenary Union, a lot of losses will be reduced. Mu Qianqiu also saw this clearly, so he came here to seek benefits from Qin Ming openly. However, if you want to take something from my hand, you may have to draw some blood. Qin Ming took out another piece of official paper. Ask the city guards to increase their vigilance and release news within the city. The beast tide is coming. All capable people can go to the outskirts of Yinwu City to hunt monsters. The city lord's palace can purchase magic cores without restrictions. Finally, let the people in the city lord's palace treasury prepare to cooperate with the mercenary union's actions. Qin Ming picked up a pen, wrote down the document, and then sent it. Rather than letting the mercenary union distribute the rewards, Qin Ming would rather distribute the rewards himself. Speechless all night, when the sky turned white the next day, Qi Lu opened his eyes and sat up from the bed. What's going on? I feel like I've slept and not slept. I must have been tricked by the system last night and I haven't recovered yet. Qi Lu rubbed his temples and walked out of the store slowly. Take a few deep breaths. Qi Lu couldn't help but do the 9th set of radio gymnastics. Uncle Hai, where are you going this early in the morning? Before Qi Lu made a few moves, he saw Uncle Hai from the herbal shop next door, dragging big and small bags out of the shop. Ah, it's Qi Lu. Uncle Hai was called by Qi Lu and turned around to say hello. These are big and small bags. Uncle Hai, are you planning to go on a trip? Qi Lu looked at the luggage curiously. Qi Lu, do you really not know? This beast tide that occurs once every 30 years in Yinwu City is coming. Uncle Hai sighed and said with a low expression. A tide of beasts? Aren't there city guards? Qi Lu said nonchalantly. Qi Lu has also heard of beast tides, but Yinwu City has survived so many beast tides, so he doesn't care about this one. How can the city guards care about our safety? Uncle Hai sighed and shook his head. Every time there is a beast tide, although a large number of monsters are blocked outside Yinwu City, but there are also some extremely agile monsters that can break through the defense lines of the city guards, enter Yinwu City, and massacre. Moreover, these monsters are often the elite among the beast tide. Therefore, every beast tide will bring Yinwu City into a period of depression. Many ordinary people, like Uncle Hai, would temporarily leave Yunwu City. Uncle Hai, are you coming back? Chilu asked again. No, I won't come back. In fact, my son has some foundations in Yunhai City. This time, I plan to go to Yunhai City to retire. Uncle Hai said this with a rare smile on his face. Hearing this, Chilu became interested. It's true that when you get sleepy, someone will give you a pillow. Chilu was still worrying about the new store last night, but he didn't expect that he would have something to look forward to today. Uncle Hai, since you are not going back to Yunwu City, why not sell your store to me? Chilu said as calmly as possible. He was not afraid that Uncle Hai would take the opportunity to raise the price, mainly to maintain his image as a store manager. Chapter 75 Buying a Store. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. Sell. Now that the beast wave is approaching, the store is not worth much. Chilu, do you really want this store? Uncle Hai glanced at Chilu and found that his face was calm. This made Uncle Hai think that Chilu was trying to find a way to help him and save more travel expenses for him. Well, I just want to expand the store. Uncle Hai, your store is in a good location. Chilu nodded seriously. Since you really want to buy it, just buy 20 spiritual crystals. This is the land deed of this store. Uncle Hai fumbled around in a big bag before taking out a folded land deed. Okay, Uncle Hai, wait a moment. Chilu turned back to the store and took out 20 spiritual crystals. Uncle Hai also handed over the land deed to Chilu. The herbs in the store will be given to you if you need them. If you don't need them, just get rid of them. After packing, Uncle Hai loaded all the luggage into the carriage, then he sat next to the driver of the carriage and gave Chilu one final advice. The beast tide is coming, are you really not going to leave? No, Uncle Hai, take care and have a safe journey. Chilu shook his head. Oh, I hope you are safe. Uncle Hai sighed. The driver flicked his whip, and the carriage creaked as it drove towards the outside of Yunwu City. Chilu watched Uncle Hai leave and then returned to the store. System, now that I have a new store, how should I open the combat power improvement training room next? Chilu asked in his mind as he stood in front of the newly appeared magic circle. System, please use the new store renovation coupon to transform the newly acquired store into a store that meets the system requirements. Chilu. In the end, I still didn't save the coupons for the new store renovation. However, Chilu also thought about this and was so angry that he had a headache all night. New store renovation coupon, use it. System, the combat power improvement training room is ready to be opened. The expected opening time is tomorrow. Okay, we finally solved this matter. Chilu breathed out and ran outside to take a look. I found that the new store was closed and could not be opened for the time being, but it only takes one more day to wait. After Chilu settled the matter, he went out and bought 2 drawers of steamed buns. I have to say that steamed buns are more delicious than steamed buns. The meat-filled steamed buns have thin skin and 18 more pleats, and your mouth will be full of oil when you eat it. Boss, we are here, we should still have weapons. It was noon, and just as Chilu yawned and touched his stomach, the store door was pushed open. The ones who came in were Kuminglang and his party of 4. I heard that I had been hunting monsters in the cloud forest before, and now I came to the store in the dust, probably for this reason. Yes, go get whatever you want. Chilu looked at the 4 people. The protective gear and other items on his body were all in tatters, the cracks were covered in dried blood, and apart from looking in good spirits, they felt like 4 refugees. Indeed, it was still not easy for the 4 warriors to get along in the cloud forest. Boss, the stuff here is really good. In fact, we have been optimistic about it for a long time. Kuminglang is also a regular customer. He entered the store to say hello and went directly to the shelves. The Ice Knight sword, the Flame saber, and the Swift Wind sword. Let's equip the other 3 people first. Then he took out 6 brave level magic cores and lined them up on the counter. It seems that you have gained a lot in the cloud forest this time. Chilu naturally put the magic core into the cash box. Chapter 76 Reaction. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. That's not true. We don't know why. There are suddenly more brave-level monsters outside the cloud forest. Fortunately, we have prepared enough elixirs. Kuminglang grinned with his teeth. It seemed to be involved in the wounds on his body. With the 4 of them, all of them are not at the brave level. It is not easy to get out of the cloud forest before the beast tide comes. Most of the credit goes to those elixirs and the flaming saber. It's a good thing to be back. Chilo nodded slightly, clasping his hands, his tone as calm as ever. Wow, boss, you actually have armor here. If you had taken it out last time, we wouldn't have been in such a miserable situation. Kuminglang suddenly shouted. I only got it recently, do you need it? Chi Luo replied slowly. Forget it, just look at the price and you'll know there's no chance. Kuminglang waved his hand. The remaining 2 brave-level magic cores still need to be taken back to complete the task of the freshman trial. If we want to continue hunting monsters in the cloud forest, there is no time. Actually, we are here to say goodbye to the boss today. The deadline for the freshman trial is tomorrow. If we don't go back, we may not make it. Kuminglang said seriously. Well, I wish you a safe journey. Chi Lu also said his blessing seriously. By the way, is there any new stock of bodybuilding pills? Kuminglang suddenly remembered this matter. The feeling of being able to increase attributes out of thin air without increasing the level is really amazing. Not yet. Chi Lu glanced at the shelves. If Kuminglang and the others could come a day earlier, they might be able to compete with Lan Yi and the others. Well, let's go then. See you next time, boss. Kuminglang sighed, waved his hand, and left the shop with the other 3 people. That's fine. Chi Lu glanced outside the city. On the eve of the beast tide, the cloud forest was not accessible to students like them who were not at the brave level. Too dangerous. Except for some regular customers, there are actually very few people in Chi Li's store. After all, the location is remote and the price is low. People who don't know the effectiveness of the products in the store will never go out of their way to come here. The Mercenary Union of Cloud Mist City, Mission Hall. This morning, a new task appeared. Hunting Warcraft will reward mercenary points according to the level of Warcraft. Mercenary points can not only be used to upgrade the level of the mercenary team to take on more advanced tasks, more importantly, it can be exchanged for some rare items in the Mercenary Union. For mercenaries, it is a very important thing. Logically speaking, when the Mercenary Union releases such a task, it should be a benefit to the mercenaries. However, coupled with the news about the beast tide released by the City Lord's mansion today, these people realize the seriousness of the problem. The disagreement between the City Lord Qin Ming and the top management of the Mercenary Union is a semi-public matter, but this time they have united, which is enough to show how terrifying this beast tide is. This makes many mercenaries a little uneasy. Some weaker mercenary teams are already planning to leave Cloud Mist City and develop elsewhere. Tide of beasts, that's really great. Blood Wolf sat in the mission hall, holding a large glass of rum in his hand, listening to the team members' reports, and slapping his thighs excitedly. Captain, what's so exciting about this? The people in the Blood Wolf team had no idea what the Blood Wolf was excited about. Chapter 77. It's really a good time for the beast tide to come. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. What do you know? Do you know how much spiritual crystals the equipment you are wearing is worth? And the pills I gave you are worth every penny. Xuelang slammed the table. I get angry when I talk about it. This time the tide of beasts was just enough to give them a wave of blood, although it is very likely that the magic core will be sent out soon. Inform me to go down and gather together. We will immediately enter the cloud forest to hunt monsters. The Blood Wolf finished the rum in one gulp and laughed. Oh, it turns out it's really a tide of beasts. I thought I was wrong. Hu Shou held a wine vat half the size of his head, drinking heavily while checking the tasks in the task hall. Brother Hu, how are you? Are you planning to leave Cloud Mist City? Asked a member of the mercenary team next to him. There are not many single-person mercenaries like Hu Shou in the Mercenary Union. Generally speaking, they would choose to leave before the beast tide comes. After all, the power of an individual is like a mantis's arm acting as a chariot in the face of the beast tide. What? Do you want to leave here? Hu Shou gave the person who was talking to him a strange look. Yes, the beast tides in Yinwu City's history have always resulted in heavy losses. We might as well leave early. The man shook his head and was not optimistic about Yinwu City at all, because Yinwu City itself is a border city and the surrounding high-end resources are scarce. No strong people will come at all. The neighboring countries of the Huangyuan Empire will also not spend a large amount of troops crossing the Cloud Forest to attack the Cloud City. Therefore, the Huangyuan Empire also did not send strong men to guard Yinwu City. Even the strongest man in Yinwu City, the city lord Qin Ming, is only a level 50 professional sword warrior. This resulted in Cloud Mist City having little ability to resist the beast tide. Each time, there were countless casualties and half-destroyed city walls before they could barely repel the beast tide and then rebuild Cloud Mist City. How about it, brother Hu, if we leave together, it would be nice to have someone to take care of us on the way. The man continued to persuade. No, I won't leave. How could I leave with such a good opportunity? Hu Shou grinned and looked outside Yinwu City. In his eyes, it was obvious that he was excited. The man who persuaded the tiger to hunt swallowed, and then left cautiously. When faced with such a madman, it is better not to persuade him. In Hu Shou's mind, he had already begun to think about how to kill everyone in the Cloud Forest after getting the dragon-marked giant axe. The tide of beasts is really a God-given opportunity. Hu Shou, you still like to talk big. As soon as Hu Shou finished speaking, an annoying voice rang out. Bao Xiong, why, the last time the mercenary group was almost wiped out in the depths of the Cloud Forest, why did you escape? Hu Shou returned unceremoniously. Humph, that was just a moment of carelessness. Bao Xiong snorted coldly. A careless moment? Then I'm looking forward to your performance in the beast tide this time. Hu Shou teased, and then left the mission hall without looking back. In fact, in terms of level alone, the 40-level Violent Bear is considered the strongest among the mercenaries. It's just that he has never obtained the trial crystal of the professional level, so he has been stuck at level 40. However, when it comes to real strength, Bao Xiong is the leader of the 3 major mercenary groups, plus the weakest one among the Lone Ranger Tiger Hunt, whether it is the Blood Wolf or Lan Yi. They can defeat the Violent Bear without any difficulty, not to mention Hu Shou, who is famous for his personal abilities. That's why Hu Shou looks down on Bao Xiong. Chapter 78 Only the Strong Are Needed. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. However, the level of Violent Bear is the signature among mercenaries. Only in this way can the Violent Bear be able to quickly replenish the strength of the Violent Bear mercenary group and keep the number of the mercenary group at a high level. Damn guy, then let you see the strength of the mercenary group of the Violent Bear in this beast wave. The Violent Bear looked at Hu Shou's back and muttered to himself gloomily. Lan Ye's team didn't fully digest all the elixirs that permanently increased attributes until the morning. During breakfast, Yojo came back from an outing and brought back the news about the beast tide. We really caught up with the huge beast tide in Cloud Mist City that happens once in 30 years. Lan Qing'er put down the bowl in her hand, then picked up the silk scarf and wiped her mouth. Well, well. Lan Zier's mouth was stuffed with meat, and her mouth was full of oil. She was talking incoherently and had no idea what she was talking about. What do you think? Lan Yi asked in passing while drinking porridge slowly. You can leave or stay. For us, the danger of the beast tide is not great. Fei Xue thought for a moment and said slowly. It's time to try out my new staff. There are many good things in Qi Li's shop. Nalan Qingqi's eyes lit up as soon as he said this. I also think we can stay and buy more elixirs. It shouldn't be very dangerous. Xiaoya was still thinking about those elixirs. In the final analysis, pills are still consumables, so if you can reserve more, you should reserve more. Okay, since everyone has the same opinion, let's stay and go to the Cloud Forest to try out new weapons today. Lan Yi couldn't help but glance at the storm spear beside him. Well, I can give my brother a different taste of meat this time. Lan Zier finally swallowed the meat in her mouth and said happily immediately. Cloud Mist City, Mercenary Union. Mu Qianxiu frowned and looked at the people coming and going on the streets of Yinwu City. Since the city lord's palace announced the news of the beast tide, many shops in Yunwu City have been closed, and a large number of ordinary people are preparing to temporarily leave Yunwu City for refuge. The mission hall of the Mercenary Union seems to have begun to slowly reduce the number of mercenaries, except for the city guards who had to guard Yunwu City. Everyone else was thinking of ways to protect their own safety. Is it really useful if we do this? Mu Qianqiu couldn't help but ask. Of course it works. Wan Zhongshan put his elbows on the table and supported his chin with his hands. Our purpose is not to keep those weak mercenary groups. As long as those powerful mercenary groups don't leave, that's enough. The weak mercenary group was not as effective as a small group of city guards against the beast tide. At least the city guards still obeyed the command, but the mercenaries who thought they were unruly were not so obedient. Keeping too many weak people is a hidden danger. Okay, don't worry about that much. Just make sure that those powerful mercenary groups will enter the cloud forest to hunt monsters. Wan Zhongshan stretched and then leaned lazily on his seat. Qilu doesn't know these things, all he needs to do is to open the shop quietly and have a good time. That's enough. Until the sun went down, no one came to the store to take a look. Is the impact of the beast tide so great? Qilu walked out of the store step by step with his hands behind his back, stood on the street, and looked at the depressed street. About half of the shops were closed. I don't know if he moved out of Yunwu City or if he left temporarily. Chapter 79: A Single Miracle. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. Looking out through the alley, there are fewer residents in Yunwu City. However, most of them stayed behind closed doors, which also led to the popularity of Yunwu City becoming much thinner. Fortunately, my favorite steamed bun shop is still open. Qilu observed for a while, then went to buy 2 drawers of steamed buns for dinner. At night, Qilu sat on the bed and started a new round of purchasing. The Lanya team came to the store a few days ago and contributed so many spiritual crystals. What they said did make sense. The types of weapons and armors in Qilu's store are really lacking. The types of elixirs are sufficient for the time being. Tonight, we will go straight to the high-quality egg pool. We must make up some of the other types of weapons. Qilu felt cruel secretly and called the system in his mind. Recharge me. System, the fee has been charged. Then Qilu became addicted to the world of single draw and couldn't extricate himself. In Qi Li's original world, the world called Blue Star, there was a saying called the miracle of single extraction. Qilu once believed it. Even now, Gumgold stabbing sword, a small increase in the user's attack power, with an armor-piercing effect. Excellent grade weapons, Spirit Snake Dagger, a small increase in the user's attack power and shooting speed. When attacking, there is a small probability of adding snake venom. Excellent grade weapons, Explosive Staff, a small increase in the user's magic power, and additionally strengthens the user's fire magic. Excellent grade weapons, Wind Chasing Bow, a small amount of the user's attack power is increased, and the attack is added with a cracking wind effect. Splitting Wind, strengthens the speed and power of arrows, and adds wind attribute attacks after hitting the target. Excellent grade weapons. Holy Light Night Sword, moderately improves the user's strength attribute, with additional skill, Holy Light Illumination. Usage restrictions, Guardian Knight, the holy light shines, the duty of a knight is to be brave and fearless. Where the holy light shines, the user is in an absolute defensive state, but cannot attack. All attributes of friendly forces are doubled, lasting 10 minutes, and cooling down for 12 hours, rare weapons. After drawing nearly 20 rounds alone, Qilu finally drew 4 new excellent weapons and a new rare weapon. I have to say, the old saying is true, the single draw is really a miracle. The probability of this new weapon being produced is much higher than that of 10 company. I'm a bit unlucky today. Qilu rubbed his hands vigorously, glanced at the warehouse opposite the bed, and took a sip of his own milk. Then the weapon egg pool was closed, and then the armor egg pool was opened. Keep pumping. Earth Spirit Heavy Armor, a small increase in the user's physical defense, with a thick earth effect. Thick earth, during combat, as long as the user does not leave the earth, the physical defense is doubled. Excellent grade armor, Water Spirit Cloth Armor, slightly improves the user's physical defense, with a soft water effect. Soft water, when the user is hit, he will randomly flash to any location within 20 meters around him. The cooldown time of this effect is 24 hours. Excellent grade armor, Fire Spirit Leather Armor, slightly improves the user's physical defense, and comes with the Fire Ring skill. Ring of Fire, release a ring of fire to repel enemies around you. The cooldown time is 6 hours. Excellent grade armor, Windwalking Boots, a small amount of the user's physical defense is increased, and comes with windwalking skills. Windwalker, actively released, increasing the user's agility attribute by a moderate amount, lasting 3 minutes, with a cooling time of 12 hours. Excellent grade armor. Chapter 80 Combat Strength Improvement Training Room. You are listening at NovelsMyriad. Xuanwu Heavy Shield, moderately improves the user's physical defense and magic defense, and comes with the Xuanwu Guardian skill. Usage restrictions, Brave level, Xuanwu Guard, passive, all attacks cannot pass through the Xuanwu Heavy Shield and attack friendly units behind the user. Active, increase the user's physical defense and magic defense by a large amount in a short period of time, with a cooldown time of 72 hours, rare armor. Great! Qi Lu couldn't help shouting when he saw the rare armor that came out at the end. Moreover, it is a rare level armor that can only be used by the brave level. When the Holy Light Knight's sword came out just now, Qi Lu was not so happy. After all, the Holy Light Knight's sword can only be used by Guardian Knights. Among the people Qi Lu has met so far, the only person who may change jobs and become a Guardian Knight is the Blood Wolf. Single miracles, the ancients will not deceive me. Qi Lu, excited and happy about the success of the poisonous milk, went to the warehouse for a tour before returning to bed with satisfaction, fall down and go to sleep. Until the next day, Qi Lu was still in a daze in his dream, when he was about to open his mouth and catch the grapes fed by the young girl next to him. System. The renovation of the new store has been completed, and the Combat Power Improvement Training Room has been officially opened. Please check with the host. The sound was like thunder, blasting into Qi Li's mind and almost blowing him up. System. What are you doing? I'm already single, can't you just let me have fun in my dreams? The hair on Qi Li's head stood up, looks like a single guy with fried hair. Pooh. It's a lone wolf. However, the system does not control Qi Lu so much. System. The renovation of the new store is completed, and the Combat Power Improvement Training Room is officially opened. Please check it, host. This time the tone seemed to be a little more accentuated. Forget it, let's not get angry with someone who is not a human being. Qi Lu yawned helplessly, scratched his stomach, stepped on his slippers, and walked out the door. Uncle Hai's previously somewhat shabby storefront has now been completely renovated. It officially became Qi Li's store, but since it's so close, it probably can't be called a branch. Qi Lu took a look at his attributes in the system. Yes, he still only had one store in terms of number of stores. Look at this so-called Combat Power Improvement Training Room, with its splendid glazed walls and exquisitely designed glass doors. Pushing the door open, there is a counter next to the door. There are 2 aisles inside. On both sides of the aisle are booths. Inside the booth is a leather sofa and a table. On each table, there is a crystal ball the size of a watermelon. Counting it down, there are 20 decks in total. Qi Lu walked a few steps further in and could see a door opening at one end of the aisle, which was connected to the store next door. Oh, why do I feel like I have seen this kind of arrangement before? Qi Lu looked at this new store and felt a familiar feeling in his heart. Cyber cafe. Yes, it's an internet cafe. If you replace the crystal ball in the booth with a computer and add a shelf selling snacks behind the counter, it will be exactly the same as a luxury internet cafe. System, please explain how to use this Combat Power Improvement Training Room. Qi Lu bared his teeth and found a booth and sat down. System, touch the base of the crystal ball with your hand. Qi Lu nodded and put his hand on the base of the crystal ball. Not to mention, it felt quite comfortable to touch.